Oh, yes, very good, very good. Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome back to You Know Who. I'm your host, the Reviewer. And with me is my new cameraman, Locked Off Tripod. Say hello, Locked Off Tripod. Fine, be that way. Oh, crumbs. Now, if you're wondering where Jamie is, then you haven't been watching this season of You Know Who, and you've hurt my feelings. I just dropped Lord Stark off at Castle Black. We went there to collect Jamie, but when we got there, he disappeared. Now, the Sardis detected a wormhole. Jamie disappeared into a hole and could be anywhere in time and space. The Sardis is currently tracking the wormhole, and we're on our way to rescue him. We've landed. Oh, a most interesting location. And everyone's on the dance floor, all the young men and that just appears to be young men. But it's very festive, all these rainbow flags hanging everywhere. Oh, bartender, I was just saying how much I liked your establishment. Everything is very well hung.
Thanks. What'll you have, Pops?
Just bring me one of whatever most people drink here.
One Virgin Cosmopolitan. Hold the Virgin.
Well, I search for Jamie. Let's dive right into this week's episode of Doctor Who. This is Extremis.
The Doctor arrives, long ago, on a strange planet that serves as the execution grounds for the galaxy. They've even a way to kill Time Lords, a device that will stop their hearts and brains while disabling regeneration. Following that, the body is put under guard for 1,000 years, but the execution itself must be carried out by a fellow Time Lord. Enter Missy. She offers condolences for River and then gestures. The Doctor takes his place as executioner. Missy is to die, and frankly, since we've known for a long time that both Missy and the Master were returning this season, I've long suspected that one of them was in the vault. 6 episodes in, and we're slowly getting answers. I appreciate a slow build as much as the next guy, and it works in the context of the show that we've been watching, but this is one of those times where the press ruined the mystery of the show. I just wish we discovered it in the natural course of things. As it is, knowing this big revelation is coming, you get a little impatient for it. In modern day, the Doctor, sitting in front of the vault, laments to Missy that no one can know he's blind. While back on the planet, the vault that the Doctor has been guarding is raised from the water. Missy begs the Doctor to spare her, while the present-day Doctor receives an email through his sonic sunglasses, an email entitled Extremis. In his classroom, the Doctor is met by a group of cardinals. Nardole joins him as they ask him to meet with the Pope, who is actually there. Why? His Holiness only says, Extremis.
Oh dear. We're all in a lot of trouble when the plot of Iron Man 3 draws the wrath of the Holy Roman Catholic Church. What's wrong?
We don't really like mentioning the Catholic Church here.
Free-thinking rationalists. Right on, man.
The Church is in possession of a text older than the Vatican in a language no one can read. An early Christian sect named this writing Veritas, or the Truth. Every member of the sect committed suicide after destroying all known copies. Of course, the Doctor, blind after last episode, has to rely on Nardole casually describing everything to him, and it's nice to see Matt Lucas have something to do that's more in his wheelhouse of humor, rather than look disapprovingly at the Doctor and criticize him. The Church has recently completed a second translation. Everyone who read it also committed suicide, except for one translator who is missing, but the Doctor cautions them not to assume he's dead. The Pope begs the Doctor to read the Veritas document. At her apartment, Bill brings a date home, but her foster mom Moira doesn't approve until she sees that Penny's a girl. Still not getting it, she wishes them a good night and goes out on her own. They're having tea when they hear the TARDIS materialize. Penny is a bit uptight, but Bill assures her that they're not doing anything to feel guilty about. Enter the Pope, and Penny takes off. Bill berates the Doctor, but then Nardole takes over explaining things, although he's stopped by a nod from the Doctor from telling Bill that the Doctor is still blind. The Doctor is preparing a device he calls a reading aid. Cardinal Angelo reiterates an offer from an earlier Pope to hear the Doctor's confession. He seems like a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders. Flashing back to Missy's execution, things are delayed by the arrival of a hooded priest. He begins repeating verses about virtue under stress and loving a madman in a box. He's reading from River Song's diary. It's Nardole. He followed the Doctor here on River's orders.
Oh, Nardal, what kind of man dedicates himself to a woman of such power and presence while dressing in such a flamboyant manner? All of you, you can put your hands down.
It's the monthly meeting of the Barbara Streisand fan club.
She anything like Verity Lambert?
They arrive at the Vatican. Staying behind, Nardal asks why they can't tell Bill that the doctor is blind. Because he wants Bill worried about herself, not him. Nardal thinks it's because if he tells her, it becomes real and he has to deal with it. Well, he's definitely not telling her now. The doctor is an idiot. But everyone knows that. The Pope blesses him. Again in Italian, so much for the TARDIS's vaunted translation circuits. And Angelo takes him into the vault where the Vatican stores dangerous and heretical items. Ouija boards and the like. Bill questions the shades, not knowing they're giving the doctor a sort of Daredevil-esque radar sense of his surroundings. The doctor must resume the execution. Missy asks the doctor to spare her and teach her to be good. And it's nice to see Michelle Gomez stretch her acting chops as well. She usually plays Missy as coldly threatening or for humor value. Although I do feel like the Master in any incarnation should never be sincere, so I'll assume she's only saying what she knows he wants to hear to play on his emotions. Back in the Vatican, a blue light glows around a corner. It's a sort of portal with an individual watching. The man never says anything and the portal snaps shut. As Angelo checks the wall, the others approach the cage containing the Veritas when yet another man shows up out of nowhere. They see he's a priest holding a pistol. He apologizes for sending it.
Of course, Veritas means the truth. And what better way to get to the truth than with a list? And do you know what happens when you apologize for sending it? You just made the list! There's no paper here.
The priest runs off when a smaller portal opens and a monstrous hand shoots out in front of Angelo. Checking the priest's laptop, they see that he sent a copy of the Veritas to the particle accelerator at CERN labs in Europe. The scientists have written back, "Pray for us." They hear a gunshot, and the doctor scans that the man who they thought must be the missing translator is dead. Still, he sends Nardal and Bill to find him as he unpacks his reading device from the TARDIS. Nardal refuses to let Bill walk in front of him per the doctor's instructions. And hey, he's allowed to kick the doctor's butt. He'll do the same to her if she doesn't follow orders meant to keep her alive. But his badass demeanor evaporates on finding the dead translator. Another portal opens. The doctor has hooked the device up to his head. It should restore his eyesight, he explains to a man he thinks is Father Angelo. It's not. Missy admits the doctor is her friend. It's the one truth of their relationship. The doctor pulls the lever, Missy keels over, and he promises to guard her body for 1,000 years. Bill and Nardal emerge into the Pentagon. They head back into a white room filled with portals. Another portal leads to a drunk scientist who invites them to watch it. Blurred vision returning, the doctor's borrowed eyesight from his future. In exchange, he'll probably have to give something up down the line. Possibly he won't even regenerate ever again. He asks Angelo to strap him in as he begins to make out others. Angelo's hand is rotten. In fact, the hand matches the face. He's surrounded by zombie cardinals.
Religious clergy dressed up like zombies. You'd almost think Doctor Who had a deeper meaning. But I know that's not the case. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go back to reading a book about Britain joining the common market while I watch The Curse of Peladon. And then later, I'm going to watch The Happiness Patrol while daydreaming about Margaret Thatcher.
To each their own.
And the zombie monsters are a symptom of the real problem of this episode. Horror fatigue. This is the third episode in a row where the crew's being chased through dark places by the unknown, and the second episode in a row where the creatures look like a walking corpse. I'm glad they're setting up what I hope will be a straightforward alien invasion storyline. Doctor Who needs to change it up every few episodes or the emotional reactions start to go stale. The Doctor douses the lights and escapes. They have the Veritas, but he has the laptop with the translation. Bill and Nardal are at CERN. The scientist says they have 5 minutes left. Everyone is either getting drunk or crying, and all the tables are rigged with dynamite. Before he can read anything, the doctor's eyes begin to blur, and he's chased by the undead clergy until a portal opens behind him. The scientist says they're blowing up CERN to save the world, because this isn't the world. When he realizes Bill and Nardal haven't read the Veritas, he asks them each to choose a number and say it when he taps the table. They both say 36. He repeats the process, with the duo continually saying the same number. It's the shadow test. Bill and Nardal just make it out of CERN as the timer counts down. Back in the portal room, Nardal has an epiphany as Bill spots blood on the floor. The boxes in front of the portals, they're not projecting the portals, they're projecting the worlds beyond the portals. holographic simulations of the most important buildings on Earth. But how did they get into this simulation? Nardole tries to step beyond the projectors, and his hand disappears, and he disintegrates before Bill's eyes. Bill can't bring herself to see if she's a fake person, and follows the blood into a house. As a TV newswoman talks about a communication blackout in the White House, Bill finds a man dead of overdose. The doctor is there. This is the White House, the Oval Office, and that was the president. Suicide from the Veritas.
Is there any way we could really send that Veritas to the White House?
Yes, thank you. We don't really do topical humor on this show.
Be true to yourself.
What kind of bar is this? Oh, it's one of those bars. A watering hole for the liberal elite.
Sort of. Have you ever seen The Birdcage?
The doctor has listened to the translation on his computer. The Veritas tells of a demon who wants to conquer the world. To do so, he creates a copy of Earth to practice on. If you don't know whether you're in the real world or the shadow world, the Veritas has you write down as many numbers as you want, then turn a page. If the numbers match what's in the Veritas, you're in the shadow world. Since computers aren't good with random numbers, that's why everyone at CERN was coming up with the same number. Just like Bill did. Just like the doctor did. There's no suicide in this world. It's just people realizing they're false and erasing themselves. As Bill begins to erase, she begs the doctor to save her, but disappears. And maybe it's just as well, for as improved as Nardole and Missy's acting is in this episode, it just feels like the doctor and Bill are hitting the same notes we've seen from them before. And this is another symptom of horror fatigue. This is the third episode in a row where we've seen them react to situations with horror and fear. The architect of the shadow world arrives. He wants to study the doctor's pain, and the doctor asks him to turn him off. He doesn't even have hope now. Remembering Missy and River's words to him, that virtue is only virtue in extreme situations, the doctor comes up with a plan. He knows they're going to invade Earth. He'll stop them. His sonic sunglasses have been recording everything, all his memories of the last few hours. And he's going to email them to the real doctor. We jump back to the beginning of the episode. The doctor, the real one, finishes watching the Extremis email on his glasses. The shadow doctor asks him to save the world. He calls Bill to make sure she's okay. Does she know a girl named Penny? Yeah, but Penny's out of her league, and the doctor tells Bill to ask her out. Have some fun now, because something big is coming and they're going to be busy. At the vault, he asks Missy if she meant it when she said that they were friends, because he's going to need all his friends now. In the past, we see that Missy is still alive. The doctor disabled the killing machine. He will guard her for 1,000 years, but he won't kill her. When the executioner objects, the doctor asks that they look him up as a cause of death. They see his massive fatality numbers and flee. And now we're caught up to where the season began, with the Dr. Nardole guarding Missy in a vault, although we're not really sure how long they've been there. Now with the questions of the backstory established, we can move forward with the major plot threads. The doctor's blindness, Missy being trapped in the vault, and what will happen when the Master shows up. In the present, the doctor wonders, how can he save the Earth when he still can't see?
Well, Extremis is certainly a competent, scary story, but I suspect I would have liked it more if it hadn't been our third scary story in a row. The supporting cast has a chance to stretch their acting chops, but with the main cast it just feels like we're going through the motions, and given the horror fatigue we're all feeling at this point, I can't say I blame them. I give Doctor Who Extremis 2 Thomases out of 5. And I have to admit that my search for Jamie has petered out. I've seen not hide nor hair of him here at this bar. I'm just going to do the Time Lord of the Week and then skip out on the bill, excuse me.
Hey!
Today's Time Lord of the Week is something of a rarity, as this is the only known photo of him in existence, and it's a little blurry. His name is Benjamin, or, as he's better known to you humans, the Locator! Who does he locate? No one. He finds reasonable lodging at an affordable price. He helps people find homes through all of time and space where they can live and be happy. He's a kind of real estate agent. He's just not very good at it. This woman asked him to find her a home, a ranch in the $150,000 range. He somehow talked her into moving into that cabinet that had been painted to look like an old Type 40 time and space capsule. It was not bigger on the inside. That's why he's destroyed all known photos of him through time and space. At any point he goes, there's usually about 50 different lawsuits waiting for him on any planet, anywhere. I once asked him to rent me a flat on London's East End. I spent 6 months sleeping on a flat tire on the east side of London, Arkansas. Oh, I hate to admit that I failed. Goodbye, Jamie. Wherever you are.
It's Magic Mike XXS.
Good Lord! Jamie!
Reviewer, you came for happy hour.
Oh, Jamie, this is no life for you. Come back to the Sardis and work for me again.
Well, it is slightly less demeaning here. I don't know. Can I have a raise?
Well, I wasn't paying you in the first place, so double?
I'm back, baby.
Everything's back to normal. Sort of. I'm the reviewer.
And I'm his cameraman, Jamie.
And this is You Know Who. Everyone into the Sardis. We're going to Fire Island. Oh, hello, everyone. I'm the reviewer. Would you like to appear on this season of You Know Who as a Time Lord? You would. Fantastic. Simply go to the Last Angry Geek's Patreon page, pledge the $10 level called Geek Lord, and send the geek a picture of yourself that you would like to appear on You Know Who. I'll come up with a Time Lord name and origin for you. But there are only so many slots available as there are only so many episodes of You Know Who for this season. So act now. Thank you and good night.